We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. Those eagle-eyed would have seen that I put a comment up at the start there because Alan joined the panel of the fans forum, and already the messages are coming in for Alan. Surely Alan Thompson is a bit happier now, says Paul. It's a big welcome to everybody. Darren, Sam, Ian, George, Benny, Barry, Donald, and Alan. Alan, are you happier?
Oh, very much so, Steve. Couldn't be happier.
We've got past the halfway line 4 times, you know.
Well, that's what the game's about, Darren, isn't it? Doesn't it make a difference getting over the halfway line?
Good stuff. Always a good way to kickstart the week. Everyone's got different opinions. That's what it's all about. Good banter in the chat as always. Darren, a 2-2 yesterday. Newcastle 1-0 down. Didn't really play well at all in the first half. But the second half, after getting a rocket up their backside by Eddie, they managed to get 2-1 in front and probably left the pitch disappointed that didn't win it, with Isak, of course, rounding the keeper but hitting the post. Would have made a 3-1. I think the game would have been done and dusted then. But I think, Nick Pope blamed for the first goal, and rightly so. He was in no man's land, completely, out of his goal, not really thinking about where he was. His positioning was all to pot, conceded the first goal, but nobody can doubt that he pulled up a wonderful save in the dying seconds of the game to earn Newcastle a valuable point. So the game had a bit of everything yesterday. 2-2, I think, was a fair result. Two good teams, two teams that will certainly be there or thereabouts with Europe again this season. Two teams who were having a battle with European competition as well as the Premier League this season as well. But I was happy. I was happy with it. I thought Newcastle would have edged it. I thought they would have won 2-1. It was a 2-2 draw. Keeps the unbeaten run going, Darren.
Yeah, well, Faber could have been the man down, couldn't we, first half? Bruno sent off. He should have been off the pitch, but somehow the referee felt a bit sorry for him because he booked him about 90 seconds ago. So that's the only positive you can say. He didn't book him, and then how he handled himself for the rest of the game was well done to Bruno. But Eddie Howe was the bollocked him because they played a total different team second half. Yes, we should have won. Isaac was unlucky, hit the post, but to take a point from West Ham, they're a good team, and after Wednesday's performance to come on a high as well. They go 7 games unbeaten now till it's unbelievable. I'm really happy with Pete. Now I should have won. I got the 3 points would have been fantastic yesterday, but I'd take a point all day long. 13 points from for the last 7 games. So keep going. And Wednesday performance was fantastic. Got past the halfway line 4 times. Some good goals in there. And so
I'll have 5, me, Darren.
Sorry.
I come with 5, me.
If I had I would have phoned you personally.
But yeah, okay. Chip, has your thoughts on the game yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, if you had said through the week we'd take 3 points off Burnley, 3 points off PSG, and we'll get a draw against West Ham, you take it. It's 7 games unbeaten now. It's 5 clean sheets out of 7. We've only conceded 3 goals, so and it's no coincidence, as I said the other week, that it's no coincidence we've improved because Longstaff's come back in the team. Yeah, first half we were a bit flat, but we had 70 or still on nearly 80% possession that first half. It just when you're playing like Steve Bruce-esque football, like David Moyes plays, then it's very hard to break down. Eventually, you break them down because they're not fit enough. But it's when teams play low blocks, you're always going to find it difficult. I did say a point there about Tonali, and I was pretty paid off last night because there was fans slagging him off still, and people just need to get their heads around. He's been here 12. He's played 12 games. I mean, come on. If you're judging a player after 12 games, you're ridiculous. He's come from a different country. He's speaking a different language. He's playing a different style of football. He needs to get up to fitness, Eddie Howe style fitness. Do people just expect that in 5 minutes? Like, I mean, I was foaming last night. I was foaming last night because people were saying, "Oh, he's nothing special" and all that. People who quite clearly don't do research on these players, and it just boils me that. Another scapegoat. I mean, last week Dan Burn was the scapegoat, but because he's had 2 world-class games, it's now Tonali's turn to get it. And I'm sorry, but just shut up and just give him time. Look at Joe Linton, for example. How long did it take him to sort his act out? How long is it taking Jacob Murphy to get his act together? Give them a chance. Just get on with it. Give him a chance. He's not going to do it this season. For me, it's going to be 2 or 3 years before we'll see the best of him, unfortunately. And that's fine by me because he's a young lad coming to a new league. He's going to need time. Just give him it.
Yeah, a lot of people agreeing with you there. Tonali is just young and settling in a new team country. He'll end up class the same as Gordon, who endured the same from a section of the fans. Alan, on the flip side, says Tonali has been poor. But there you go. It is all about opinions. A lot of people are, prepared to give Tonali a chance, but there are people out there who, want action straight away when you spend big money. So I understand both sides of the fence, but I agree with you, Chip, as I do believe that Tonali will come good. Flashes of brilliance, I've got to be honest, at times. That game in Milan, he came into his own. The game at PSG came into his own. He's going to play a part. Everyone is going to play a part this season, but it's all about opinions. And he cost £70 million, as CC says. That's a hell of a fee to have around your neck. And he put in a proper shift yesterday, says Clinton. So, lots of opinions. Ian, West Ham yesterday. Thoughts on that game first and foremost tonight?
I thought it was an hard game. They came with a game plan which was to not play football, really, just sit behind the ball, 10 men, and just counter-attack. And that is where we do fall short when we don't have somebody like Big Joe or Little Joe or somebody to just get hold of the ball and run and make problems in the middle, which we sort of lacked in the first half. But Bruno was excellent in the second half. Like Daz said, he was lucky to be on the pitch. Because I was thinking he's going to get pulled at half time if he, you know what I mean, because he just looked like his head had gone again. But everyone knows I'm Bruno's biggest fan anyway. So he came through. He was class. If you're looking at the facts are, we went to their backyard and the only way they could compete with us, which I don't think a draw was right. I think we were much of a better football team, but it's in their backyard. They had to do what they had to do to get a point out of it, and they did it. And that shows how far we've come and shows how good a team we are now. That Man City are having to change their tactics to deal with us. Liverpool are beating us by counter-attacks. West Ham are scoring from counter-attacks. It's obvious where the goals are coming against us, but it's just, it's one of them things that when you sort of get a better team together that people start treating you with more respect and there's less gaps. Simple as that, isn't it? So, yeah. No, I thought Rich, great week. I'm really buzzing. I was... one prediction wasn't far off, Al, but I think it was 4-1. So I'll give you that one, yeah.
Yeah, George, point to point, we shouldn't grumble. That's what they used to say on top of the pink. But it was a good point. I don't think we could argue with that.
Not really, but I'm disappointed it's not 3. I've got to say, we had all the opportunities to make it 3. Every attacking statistics in the stats is ours. You know, possession, shots on goal, corners, you name it, it's all us. Which meant we were forcing the game. And Moyes is no fool. He's been around a long time, and he set a game plan to frustrate when that's what they did. But I still think that we could easily have got the 3 points. Isaac was unlucky with that one that hit the post, but he had other chances as well, which he could have easily had his hat trick. Could have easily, and there were others in the game as well. The debate about the midfield, I think Chippers is right. They always have been. Sean Longstaff has now become the pivot to a lot of the good things that we do. For one reason only, he accepts the ball wherever he is. Even if it's what we used to call a cemetery pass, you know, with the defender sitting on his shoulders, he'll still take it and make use of it. And more important than that, his first thought is to go forward. How many midfielders get into the England team and their first thought is to go bloody backwards, never think about going, or sideways, never think about going forwards. Sean Longstaff, you can see, he looks up and he's looking for the forward ball, and that's fantastic. You're right about Bruno, lads. He was lucky to be on the pitch at half time, but whatever was said to him in the dressing room certainly worked. And I think he got a lot, despite what all the idiots are saying about Tonali, he got a lot of help off Tonali. Tonali did his shift to take some of the weight off Bruno in the second half as well. So, you know, all this about the lad not doing this and doing that and the other. I think he's doing fantastic considering. I don't subscribe to the big fee being a weight on his shoulders. If he's a bit like that, he shouldn't be in football. But never mind, that's another issue. No, I think he's doing well. I think outstanding performance. Well, once again, Trippier. Oh, if there's a better defender in the country than Trippier, I'd like to see him, because not only is he defending, his positive motions always dangerous, and the balls that he assists. He's the top assist in the league. He's got more assists than most of the big forwards, and he's a right back, for God's sake. That says an awful lot. So, no, great week, great result. And the important thing is they were able to come back, having gone down, and make it possible for us to put us in a winning position. It's unfortunate we didn't quite manage it, but otherwise, great. Loved it all. I'm
getting a bit of TV in the background, so someone's got a TV on. If they can just stick it on to mute, because I can hear that. It's a bit. It's just overcoming people when they speak. I don't know whether anybody else can hear us. There is a TV on. Yeah. Somebody knocked the TV off anyway. If someone's got a TV on in the background. Have we all taken our happy pills, Alan? I think you're getting a reputation of being a bit of a misery, but I think. I don't know why. I think
getting the last few programs back, mate.
I think getting a win like we did against PSG when you predicted a defeat, it's great. You must feel even better than we do.
Well, I've never came off the ceiling since Friday, Steve, so I don't know what the players were like. I mean, lads, winning that game on Wednesday night, I never touched the floor till Saturday morning. So what the players were like, I think a lot of people forget about the mental fatigue and excitement and adrenaline from that game to the Sunday game. And they did look leggy on their first half. So it was a fantastic point. Yes, like all were in the show and everybody. I was gutted when that goal went in to make it 2s each. But when on reflection, I think it's fantastic, because I remember we beating Man United 5-0, lads. And the next week I was bouncing for a week. And then I was like a burst balloon the week after, because we got beat off Leicester 2-0. And it just flattened me that season. But getting back to the game, I agree a lot with the lads. Tonali needs a lot of time. I called Joe Linton worse than crap for 18 months, and he's turned it around massively. So Tonali's been here 2 minutes, and to get on his case now, like Chip has and George says, it's just absolutely pathetic. Give the lad a lot of time. I don't think we'll see the best of him for a long time yet to come. He's a class act, and I think it's great. I do think it was a game of two halves. First half was West Ham's, but after saying that, I know George says about possession, but we did nothing with possession. Just look at PSG on Wednesday night. They had all the possession, but did nothing with it. It's all about crossing that halfway line, lads. You know, but I mean, I couldn't be happier, lads.
Don't resist it, could you?
Two each away from home West Ham, and yes, Bruno should have went by the letter of the law. I mean, the second one was worse than the first one. If anything, I agree with Bruno. He shouldn't have got booked for the first one, but he did get booked. But the second,
still he had a card though. The day and age, still he had a card though.
Yeah, I agree. Darren, I agree. So,
did you see the Man City game? Did you watch the Man City game yesterday?
Yeah, theirs was worse as well. Darren, he should have went. Yeah. Definitely.
Do you not think about Trent Alexander-Arnold a few weeks ago and just think it was like,
yeah, exactly. So, we've got away with one. Pope made a fantastic save at the end. So all in all, lads, I'm bouncing. And, when you look at the league table, 7 points between us and the top of the league. It's so congested. It's going to be a hell of a fight. It's the most competitive Premier League ever. I must admit, ever. So yeah. I'm delighted. Get the lads a rest. Hopefully 1 or 2 players come back and we'll get going against Crystal Palace. And then I'll be bouncing. Then I predict we'll win.
I tell you what, Alan, there's nothing wrong with being pessimistic because it serves you well. If we get beat, then you go, I told you so. And if we win, you feel a lot happier. So, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think eventually there'll have to be a bit of realism from all of us that, times have changed. Newcastle United now are no longer the bridesmaid. They're going to be the bride very soon. And that's a positive for me. I just look at it and think we are going to be in that position where we are challenging for league titles. We're challenging for trophies. And once we get the first one off our back, the rest will follow. It's as simple as that. And that's the way I feel. And, we've got more transfer windows ahead when financial fair play will be more on our side because of the commercial revenue that Newcastle United are bringing in. So it's a massive, massive positive. Great stuff and a great time to be in Newcastle United.
Just one more point, Steve.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, I went on a lot of the podcasts after the PSG, and the absolute dislike of us winning was immense. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I could not believe it. Well,
Alan, get this, Alan. And I've mentioned this already, but before the game, we were in the group of death. PSG were one of the best teams in the world. Mbappe was going to destroy us on his own. That probably could have left the other 10 players in the hotel on the quayside. After the game, well, PSG aren't what they used to be. They're not a very good team, PSG. Mbappe has passed his best. I'm not being funny. Just give Newcastle credit. We've just torn apart one of the best clubs in European football, in world football, the champion of their league. I get exactly where you're coming from, mate. Exactly where you're coming from. I'm no surprise.
Well, Alan, I wish it was new. It's not. I mean, we've had it all. I've had it all my life. That because you were from Newcastle, there was nothing good come out of Newcastle.
Yeah, George.
Yep. Okay, we're going to bring Donald in. Donald, good evening, mate. Can you unmute yourself? There you go, mate. That's great.
Yeah.
We're getting a bit of feedback. What's your views then, Donald, on the game of the weekend?
Game of the weekend. I think you could see the energy levels were a bit low after Wednesday, and that definitely played a factor. That definitely was a factor. But obviously, second half, I think we looked at a different team, a lot more quality on the ball. We were sharper in our passing, and I thought 2-1. I predicted 2-1, funnily enough, but I think their second goal, the closing down, left a bit to be desired, if I'll be honest with you. Dan Burn did, try to get in the way, but some of the others just were a bit, I don't know, bit powder puff. But hey ho, 1 point's better than no points. We would have loved 3, but we come away from West Ham against a good team. I mean, West Ham have really built momentum since they won the Conference League. So they mean business, and full credit to them. So pleased with that. Like everybody would have preferred 3, but hey ho, it's a point. We go into the international break unbeaten, and we've got 3 big hitters to come back. So everything's looking rosy.
Good point, that Donald. We've done this without Anthony Gordon, who's been one of our best players this season so far. We did it without Joe Linton. Callum Wilson wasn't fit to play. He was fit enough to be on the bench, but Eddie Howe after the game said he didn't really want to bring him on. He only came on because Isak had asked to go off. The good news about that is that he hasn't been sent home. So he's fit to play for his international team, Alexander Isak. So I put a short out earlier on about Lee Ryder's news piece in the Chronicle saying that there was a concern over whether his injury had reared its head again, but Isak is fully fit and okay to play international football.
Just a quick point about Tonali. When any club buys an overseas player, one thing you have to remember is that overseas player has not played at the pace that they play in the Premier League. In overseas leagues, be it French League, La Liga, Eredivisie, a lot of their players get that time on the ball, 3-4 touches. But in the Premier League, you've got to let that ball go in 2 touches. When you receive it in midfield, you can't dwell on it too long, because you dwell on the ball too long, you lose it. So you've got to remember, it's going to take time for him to get that mindset of playing that much, quicker.
Yeah.
But, so people have just got to be a bit patient and remember, give him time. Just because he cost whatever million, that's not his fault. The price ain't decided by him. It's the clubs that decide on the value, not the player. So,
Yeah.
Okay, Donald. Yep, good points, Barry. Good evening. The West Ham game is gone now. It's another point and keeps the unbeaten run going. Eddie Howe likes to get on an unbeaten run, but what's your views on the result of the weekend?
I mean, like the other guys have said, watching Nick Pope get himself completely stranded and give away the first goal, I just sat and sort of went, "Oh God, here we go." I thought this is going to be a bad game. We've had periods where games away from home in London we've struggled like mad. And give the team their due, Steve. They've now got that fight in them that they go 100% for it. Yes, it may have taken Eddie to give them a kick at half time, but they showed the spirit that came back into it. I thought Anderson had a cracking game. I thought Isaac was outstanding. Some of the touches he did, not just the goals. He looked absolutely class. I thought Miggy had a good game again as well. And just watching, I mean, Paqueta, I was one of the guys who shouted for him when all the rumours around to come and play alongside our Brazilians. The whole lack of interest when Trippier went past him with a ball to do the cross for Isaac's goal. He just sort of stood there, waved his arms in the air to say, "Well, I'm not tackling him." And I just thought that is so different to the Brazilians that we've got in Bruno. I just think I wouldn't touch that guy with a barge pole after watching that. I just thought it was absolutely abysmal. But yeah, a good team performance. It's a shame we didn't get the 3 points, but to go away from home and pick up a point in the performance that we did second half when we had to, I'm very pleased with the lads. I think the week we've had, I think it is catching up with us, but we've got obviously quite a few injuries knocking about now as well. Like you said, we're missing Willock, we're missing Joe Linton, we're missing Wilson's not 100%. There's a few of the players. My thing with Tonali is you've got to give the guy a chance. I mean, he's been one of the players who has gone against old habits, if you like, and he's brought him in sort of straight away. He hasn't given him that period of time where he gets up and running and he builds his fitness and gets up to the levels that the likes of Botman did, where they gradually got brought into it. Tonali sort of got pushed straight into the team. And I think regardless of what level he's up to, his ability is there for all to see. His touches are tremendous. I think it's just a matter of time. Hopefully, by the midpoint of the season, he'll have slotted in and he'll look absolutely class. And I think he's exactly the type of player we needed to support Bruno. He's only going to get better and better. I think
unfortunately, like somebody said in the messages before there, we seem to be becoming a club where we've got to have a go at one of our players. It's just a question of which one's going to get the stick this week, which isn't fair on the team. I mean, obviously the Pope mistake, he made a cracking save, so nobody slagged him off, but Tonali seems to be getting it this week, and Christ knows who it'll be next week. It's just, you've got to support the lads. It was a good performance. We're going to the winter break, and like Donald's just said, get a few players back ready for the next game.
Yeah, Howe solved the Tonali problem at half-time by switching him onto his left, different player second half. Yeah, that little switch, which, you know, I noticed between him and Longstaff, that's what got us back into the game, plus probably the rock that he stuck to the backside.
It helped Bruno as well, Steve. It helped
did,
Bruno
yeah.
as well.
It did, yeah, massively. Spenny, your take on the game, mate?
Well, I'm disagreeing with most people. So I think there's nothing wrong with Tonali for me, for a start-up. Yeah. He played exactly all right for me.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Absolutely.
And I'll say to everybody else, I think Chippy is one of the best players we've played for Newcastle in my era, without a doubt now. I know when I met John Anderson 2 years ago, I said to him, you're the best right back I've seen in Newcastle. He's took over now. He's in that team for me. I thought Bruno was lucky, like the lads have said, to stay on the pitch. He was very, very lucky. Pope was a bit wrong for the goals, yes. Bruno was excellent as usual. But other than that, I can't see no problem at all with Tonali. He put his shift in. He played well. The whole team did for me. I don't think there was any European hangover either. I think we just see what they had to come with the first 10 minutes, and then we just stuck the pressure up, and then we just played the ball about. That's how Newcastle plays now.
Yeah, I agree, Spenny. It's always going to be a situation that develops over the course of a club growing and getting bigger and better, like we are as well. You know, there's always going to be situations where people are going to disagree on certain things. Fans are going to disagree, but you know, social media is a nightmare for opinions. That's the problem. I keep off Twitter and stuff like that after a match day, because it just becomes a cesspit. People attacking people and having a pop at people. But I agree with most of you guys that there's always a scapegoat. There's always seems to be somebody who's in the firing line. It was Longstaff, then it was Pope, it's been Tonali. It will be somebody else. Gordon, when he first signed. Joe Linton, of course, I think we all had a pop at him at some point because he looked like the biggest waste of £40 million the club had ever seen. But we didn't realize none of the guys were training at all.
I just think about my poor Margie sitting in that chair when I used to come home from the match, and I used to have a 10-minute rant about Joe Linton every bloody game. And
Margie, and
Margie used to say to me, that poor lad, you don't give him a lickings of a dog.
The thing is as well, Steve, these little rumours and these things get set away in social media, and not even Newcastle fans. They just do little remarks, pretend to be Newcastle fans, and us being us jump on the bandwagon.
We all do.
It splits in there. That's how it all happens. Tonali had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Anybody else says he was a good player. He played well.
Yeah. I've noticed a couple of people, not everybody, saying there's been a couple of adverts in between a live stream. Now, YouTube are changing the way they do adverts, and it's out of our control at this moment in time. They're testing it. They're seeing how it goes. We've picked the bottom line for adverts, but you will, if you're watching on a certain device, you will potentially get an advert for Amazon or something like that. So, it's out of our control. All you need to do is do what you normally do and just click skip ad, and you'll be able to watch and continue your viewing of NUFC matters. However, you can't avoid these ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors: Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay as you go waste collection. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can order yours today by emailing info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephoning 01768 210 102 or go to the website mrvickies.co.uk. A big thanks as well to United Group Travel. They are a UK coach holiday firm based in Morpeth. For just £30 deposit, you can book a trip across the UK. There are no strangers on their buses, just friends you haven't met yet. They're taking bookings now for 2024 tours and you can call them on 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174 or 07957 141 654. Big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And a big thanks as well to New Workwear. You can find them at newworkwear.com. Please subscribe to the channel. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button. It's free. Hit the thumb up under the video to like the video and click share to share to your other social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel financially, why not take out a one-off £25 membership? What do you get for your money? You get a scarf, you get a pen, you get a membership card, and a cup, and you get entry into the monthly draw. How do you do it? Go to NUFCmatters.com. If you've got a smartphone, put your smartphone over this QR code, and it will take you straight there. We also support the food bank on this channel. How do we do it? We do it virtually. NUFCfansfoodbank.co.uk is the website. If you want to make a virtual donation today, go to that website and you can top up what they collect at the food bank outside the ground. We always advertise events on this channel as well. If you've got an event to advertise which has got a Newcastle United theme, please let us know. An evening with Frank Clark and John Gibson takes place at the Irish Centre. Tickets are £15. NUFCmatters.com for your tickets. The Tyne Theatre and Opera House are holding an event with Keegan, Beardsley and Waddle, the class of 84, 25th of January 2024. And you can book now 0844 249 1000. That's 0844 249 1000. If you go to NUFCmatters.com as well, we've got a couple of raffles ongoing. The Alan Shearer signed ball raffle, £1 a ticket. And the Kieran Trippier picture, £1 a ticket for that as well. And once the tickets are sold, the draw will be done. We've also got some T-shirts, which you can buy. The latest one, the latest hot seller is this one. Geordie's on tour. I've never seen a Mackem in Milan T-shirt with all of our Champions League fixtures on the back. Get yourself to NUFCmatters.com. Buy one today. And don't forget the Northeast Brekkie Show, 7 till 9, Monday to Friday on tuneradio.co.uk. You can also get us on DAB Radio, smart speakers, app, and online. Some text messages coming in. The problem is Tonali scored in his first game, came from Italy with huge expectations, cost a lot of money, but it's taking time to fit in. I understand why people are asking questions, says Pop Images. JB says, up to the 80th minute, our midfield controlled the game. We just lacked a strong bench with so many injuries. West Ham were able to make more influential subs. And Blue Rhythm Boy says, the T-shirt you're selling, Steve, hasn't got all the fixtures on. It's missed the final off. Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Few questions coming in as well. The Ramsdale one was an interesting one from last week. CC says, question. Last week I asked if you would go for Ramsdale in January. Two out of three said yes. The rest said no. Or 2 or 3 said yes, sorry, and the rest said no. Do you still feel the same after the first goal on Sunday? I love Popey, but he turns and runs like my granny. So Ramsdale does.
Still no.
Still no.
Still no for me.
Okay, Chippers.
Nope.
Right. Okay, Ian.
We don't need another bench warmer.
George.
No, if he's not good enough for them, he's not good enough for us.
Alan.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing to separate them really, like Steve, to be honest. But
yeah, I agree.
I prefer Pope, to be fair.
Okay, Tunnel.
No rejects, please.
No rejects, Barry.
It's a weird one because after watching the PSG game, I thought Donnarumma, their Italian keeper, was the best, one of the best in the world, and Pope looked class compared to him. So he's gone, in my estimations, there's no way I would replace him at the minute.
And Sperry, are we going for a clean sweep?
No, I think Dubravka's better than him.
You want Dubravka in, don't you? Yeah, you played Dubravka. Would you sign Ramsdale? And would you sign it? Would you look to upgrade and sign another keeper in this January or in this?
No, I think Pope and Dubravka's better keepers than him. So I would just leave him where he is.
I've always said that they'll need another keeper moving forward. They will need another keeper because Dubravka clearly is not in Howe's thoughts unless Pope gets injured or suspended. So for me, and the fact that Dubravka didn't have any loyalty when he went off to Man United, he said he was signing for a bigger club. He didn't get a game, and he came back with his tail between his legs. Now, ultimately, he could still do a job for us, but I think we need to bring another keeper in to compete against Pope, and it needs to be somebody at the top level. So me personally, I'm happy with Pope at the moment. I get where CC's coming from, because there are situations where Pope comes out of the box and seems to lose direction, and he does flap a bit. He's not strong enough in his box. He doesn't get up and get the handle. He's not a world class keeper. I don't think, genuinely. I think he's an England keeper. I don't think he's world class though. I think we need somebody to give him a bit of competition. Maybe that's what he needs. But it's a good debate. But less people there. CC wanted.
Would you take a foreigner from Man United, Steve? Melly's asking.
I wouldn't take an Nana. Dear me, I'd have a banana rather than a Nana. He's. I'm not being funny, but that guy's come in and he's replaced one of the best keepers in the world in De Gea, and he's weak. He's very weak. I don't know. I just don't think. I do not think that guy is capable of playing in the Premier League. I really don't. I think there was better keepers out there that Manchester United could have purchased. Melly's going to be on the Premier League show tomorrow, so we'll be able to discuss that with him.
I would have had De Gea instead of pretty.
I would have, yeah. I think De Gea's a good keeper. I still think he could do a job. He was a free transfer. I don't know whether he got a move anywhere, but no, you look at Edison. In the Premier League, he's obviously up there. But there's one or two. Ramsdale's not a bad keeper, but I think he's on par with Pope. I don't think it would be an improvement. I don't think it would be an improvement at all.
But if he was that much better, he'd be in Arsenal's team, wouldn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, and I don't think the guy that they've got in is as good as Ramsdale. So it is a strange situation. You wonder why he's been dropped. It is strange. Pope's erratic, says John, and Pope punches too much, says Mick. And I wouldn't bring any player in from Man United, says John. So lots of comments coming in the chat tonight.
On the keeper front, we need somebody who can. If we want to improve on Pope, you want somebody who's good with their feet as well. Yeah. Who's comfortable with the ball at their feet, like Edison is.
Yeah, Gary says, I'd have had De Gea. Nona to me would be a better outfield player. Yeah, he looks like an outfield player as well. And John reckons we should bring Minte back in January or the summer because he's ready for the bench. He's doing very well at Feyenoord. Certainly doing well. And it's good to see. David R, good evening. He said, do you think Spurs' bubble's going to burst, seeing as they've had a quite generous fixture list? They played 5 of the current bottom 6. In contrast, we've played 5 of the current top 7. Interesting, isn't it? Spurs top going into this break, but as Alex Ferguson would tell you, leagues aren't won in October, are they, Darren?
No, and plus they're only playing 1 game a week. You know what I mean? We're playing 3 a week. It's a marathon, not a sprint, Steve. Yes, they're winning games, but you look at their squad. They haven't got a goal squad, have they? You kind of class the Charleston as a goal squad. You man Mark Madison, you keep them quiet, and Songs is him, isn't he? He's 1 minute he's good, 1 minute he's cold. So I'm not. It's a matter of another sprint, but what I have got in the favour, they're playing 1 game a week. They've got nothing else to play for, so that's what I will say in the favour.
Okay, Chippers, your thoughts on Spurs? Is the bubble going to burst sooner rather than later?
I mean, let's see how they react to losing the game, how they bounce back from that. Let's see how they react to when Madison gets an injury, to when Son gets an injury, because inevitably they're going to get them. Madison got injuries frequently at Leicester, so he's getting older. He's going to get them at Spurs now. Son, he's a top player, but again, if you're putting all your eggs in that basket, I mean, you can't guarantee it because he's not a Harry Kane. Nobody's a Harry Kane where he'll get you 30 goals. I don't think Son will get you 30 goals. Richarlison, I think he scored 1 league goals at last season. He won't get you. I don't think he'll get you the 30 goals either. So, I mean, it could be a case of, no offence, wait till they've lost the game, wait until they get a few injuries, then we can start judging them. For me, they haven't really played anybody. Arsenal away, but that's a derby game, and if both teams aren't up for it, I'd seriously question them. So, after that, they've played a poor Man United side at home. They played 9 men Liverpool at home, which they only took the 99th minute to win the game. So, and they've played, no offence, Luton aren't that great of a side, and they've played them on Saturday against 10 men. So the games that they've won, you would probably expect them to get the points that they have. So I would have been disappointed if we didn't get the points like what they had in the games that if we'd had them win a game. So, just wait and see what they're like after a game, after defeating when they've had a few injuries, because ultimately that'll be when their mettle is tested.
What do you reckon, Ian? Spurs? I mean, Arsenal seem to think they've won the league as well after beating Man City. I think this ties in with Tom's question. Question for the panel: who do you think will win the league after yesterday's result?
Man City.
Man City won't collapse, will they?
Man City will win the league. Man City are way ahead of any other team in the league. They've had a couple of rubbish results, but that happens to any good team. Going back to Spurs, the plus point for Spurs is that they've got a manager who's trying to play decent football, attractive football, a lot less boring football than the previous two. They haven't really played anyone yet, like all the lads have said previously. We'll press the living daylights out of them, and I think we'll beat them home and away. I haven't seen them. They're okay, but I don't think they're as good a football team as we are. And I've seen a few comments saying they haven't got much depth in the squad, and I actually think that's correct. I don't think there's the depth there. Like a few injuries, and they'll be on a downward spiral. But saying that, they're not a bad football team. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they'll like it up when we play them again.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. Chippers, Darren, who do you fancy for the league? Man City still?
Yeah, I think when sorry, Dan.
But not going to go on.
I was just going to say when De Bruyne comes back, that'll make the difference for them. It'll be like a totally new player, and that they're missing him massively, and Haaland's missing him. As soon as they come back, they'll just start scoring again. It's just inevitable. They're missing them big time, and who wouldn't miss Kevin De Bruyne? It's as simple as that. He's arguably one of the best midfielders in the world, if not the best. So, I mean, Haaland's missed him because he's not getting the service. I mean, yeah, he's got form there, but he's no Kevin De Bruyne, unfortunately.
And Rodri's been out for 3 games as well, Chippers. Yeah. And he's been banned and they've lost 3 games.
That's you've hit the nail on the head there. For me, Rodri's been it's no coincidence that Rodri's not played. He is an excellent midfielder, and he's probably, when Pep's coming out saying he's the best in the world, then you've got to have a look at him, haven't you? So,
George?
I think somebody hit the nail on the head when they said, let's see how they come back if they lose the game. I think that it really is important. It just might happen that we are the people that will make them lose the game. I hope Arsenal have that goalkeeper in when we play him, who couldn't face the press the other day. Oh, dear me, against Manchester City. How on earth he didn't give more goals away, I do not know. Well, I'd love to see him at St James's Park when we play them. No, I think Spurs have played good football, but they'll nosedive first time they lose, I think. And the first time they play somebody that's in the top 5 instead of the bottom 6. They haven't had that yet, and it'll come, and it might just be us.
Who do you fancy for the league, George?
Manchester City. Yeah, they're difficult to vote against with the depth of the squad and the way they play and the way Guardiola's got them playing, and he has the history. The man's a genius. He's won all the big titles all over Europe. He's never missed one, and the cups as well. And he just has the knack, and he's getting that into the players' heads at Manchester City, and that's very important. I'd like to think that that's what's happening with Eddie Howe with us as well. That's the difference. And at least Eddie's putting in a position where we can challenge them. I mean, before we used to fight like hell, but we never used to get very far. Now, at least when we go in, we feel we've got a chance. But I think Manchester City's difficult to vote against for the league.
I'm going to go for a Man City, but it's closely followed behind Liverpool as their biggest title challenger this year. I think Liverpool's shown in midfield a good midfield, better than last year, I think, personally. But just watch out for Liverpool.
Okay, Alan?
Well, the first part, Spurs, I think injuries will play a part with their squad depth, I think, to be fair. I think they're a very good footballing team, and momentum takes you a long way, lads. In January, if they're in the top 3 or 4, I think they will spend money in the transfer window to keep that place. As far as the league's concerned, it's between us and Man City. As far as I'm concerned, it depends on if we win our games. The crunch for me will be Arsenal to them, and then it'll give a belief. Just like Arsenal beat Man City yesterday, they think they've got the belief to take the league. If we beat Arsenal, we're broken a new ground, and we'll be exactly the same. I think a lot of the lads are feeling like, I agree with Darren in the sense, looking at it, Liverpool will be that stronger, but I think we've got a hell of a chance. If we get over to January, we can get our injuries back and buy another 1 or 2 quality players in January, we've got a chance. This league is 7 points, like I say, between us and the top, and everybody's going to be taking points off each other. So don't down myself. I know I come over negative, but I want we to win something, and we've got a chance. Maybe it's not this year. Top 4, I'll be over the moon if we finish top 4. But if we get 2, 3, we've missing 5 quality players, lads. 5 quality players. Willock, Joelinton, Wilson, Harvey Barnes will not be mentioned. He'll be like a new signing.
Yeah.
So if we get our act together and start believing, that's why I was saying PSG was such a marvellous result. That'll give belief to the team that we can't take the best teams to the well and beat them. And I'm looking forward to Arsenal to them to give us. Yes, we've got Wolves and we've got Crystal Palace, which will be difficult. Every game's difficult. But if we beat them, then we'll come up against Arsenal in November. And that, to me, will be the truer test to see where we are. So it's Man City, obviously. But I think we've got a great chance.
Okay. Donald, are you confident? And obviously your take on Spurs as well. Donald, do you think Spurs have got a chance?
Yeah, Spurs haven't really been tested yet, have they? I mean, they've literally coasted through the games, played good football, but it's when they come up against the top 4 or 5 sides that'll be a true test of where they're at as how far they've progressed as a team. And if they get an injury, as already been mentioned, to Son or Maddison, then they don't have the depth to replace them, do they? There's nobody who can do a job, a number 2 to Maddison or a number 2 to Son who can, do that role. So that'll test them as well. I mean, they are due a blip. I mean, at some point they will, falter. As regards to winning the league, you can't see past Man City. Man City have got the nous. They know how to get the job done. I mean, last season when Arsenal were, led the table for a while, Man City knew what they were doing. Man City were on their coattails, and Arsenal couldn't see it through in the end. So it's got to be City, hasn't it? Can't see past them.
Okay, Barry?
I think the thing with City is they're probably 6 months to a year ahead of everybody else. Players-wise, squad-wise, manager-wise, he's like the guys have said, he's way ahead. I think everybody else is just going to be jockeying for positions. I think Arsenal and Spurs bottle it. They always do. Once it comes around to January time, their results start going against them and they fall by the wayside. Man United look really poor. Chelsea are all over the place. Liverpool, I still don't see them as a great side. They've got too many internal battles going on. I think Salah will leave in January, and I think the Scousers will fall apart completely. Hopefully, seeing the end of Mr. Clippity Clop and disappear before the end of the season, because I'm sick of the sight of him. I think Villa are a strong team. They're getting better all the time. I think they are more stable than some of the other teams. Man United, like I said, just they're not good. I think this is it for us. This is our chance to certainly get into 2nd, 3rd, 4th place again quite easily. We're more than capable with the squad we've got. We're having a bit of a dodgy turn because of the injuries we've got. We'll get to January. Hopefully, like it's been said before, we'll bring in a couple of decent players, strength and ready for the battle towards the end of the season. I mean, what we're doing in the Champions League is just, for me, is a huge bonus. It's like thoroughly enjoying the ride, as the guys have said on other shows. It's like it's unbelievable to hammer PSG, draw against Milan away from home. I strongly believe we're going to beat Dortmund. We're going to turn them over. That could be us qualified by the second time we beat Dortmund for the next round without even playing PSG and Milan again. It's just one of those. It's just an enjoyable time to be a black and white. I don't think we'll win the league. I think City. We've got a while to go. Unfortunately, I don't think until financial fair play buggers off, I don't think we're going to get anywhere near Man City. But go for it, guys. Well, Pep, I think Eddie's improvement. I think Pep's reached that level where he's superb, but he's not getting any better. Eddie is very, very quickly moving up the scales. He's bringing in people to support him, like Mitch said the other night. I was fascinated with him going through the backroom staff that Eddie Howe's brought, and the structure that he's put in place. We are going to be there. It's just a matter of time before we get to that level. And Howe is improving all the time. I think I'd sign him on for another 10 years now, just to see how far we actually get to go.
Yep. Spenny, your thoughts on Spurs? I mean, have they got what it takes, or have they had too easy a start? And, who do you fancy for the league this season?
Well, I think Spurs have got holes in them. I watched them the last few games, and they've been very, very lucky against the power teams, to be honest. They're just riding the luck. To win the league, you've got to go 10 or 15 games wins straight on the trot a season and go for that massive run, to me. So Spurs will just nosedive, I think, in the middle table by the end of the season, to be honest. Who do you think will win the league? I think Man City's been found out with this fantasy saying they've got a big squad with losing Rodri like they have. They're losing Rodri has lost them a few games. So I'm going for Newcastle to win the league, and I'm very confident as well.
Well done, Spenny.
Okay, yeah, it's all about opinions. That's what it's all about. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes left. Let's go with this one. Barry, I'm going to give you the honours on this one. You can answer this first. January transfer window, says Stu. Which position would you now want to reinforce first?
It would still be striker for me. I think it's proven by Wilson picking up knocks. I think Isaac is playing out his skin, but then he's coming off before the end of games, which is a little bit worrying. I think, as it's been said before, I think we need an up-and-coming striker, a young'un who's going to be prepared to bide his time, take his chances. Wilson probably only has another season, 2 seasons in the squad before he'd be replaced anyway. It's just a question of bringing the right one in. I pray like hell they don't bring in Ivan Toney, because I don't want that guy back at the club.
Okay, Donald. I think the reason this question's been asked is because a lot of people are saying centre half, but Lascelles has come in and played really well in the last 3 games, and a lot of people are saying that he's potentially gone through a little bit of a renaissance like Joe Linton. But yeah, I mean, where would you strengthen? Which position would be your priority in January?
I think, at the end of the day, goals win games, so it's got to be a centre forward, hasn't it, to back up to Isak and Wilson, because Wilson is has to be managed carefully with his injury record, and Isak is human at the end of the day. If he goes down, then we sort of are struggling for a decent forward line, aren't we? So yeah, go all out and get a decent striker, and then I think we should be all right, because we got the strength and depth in the other departments, in my opinion. But it's striker where if injuries happen, then we're on dodgy ground then.
Okay, so Alan, what about you?
I concur with the lads. Osman from Napoli for me. Just put a £90 million bid in for him. He's a young lad and he jumps like a salmon. He's absolutely fantastic. I would have him in the squad in January. Osman for me. And he'll put the shits up everybody else. It really would, lads. It really would. Honestly, the other clubs and that's what I say about getting 1 or 2 quality players in. Honestly, we're not far away. That league's there to be won if you've got that the belief. But I agree with the lads about Pep being fantastic, and he is, and the team's fantastic. But yeah, striker. Sorry, Steve, I'm diverting. Striker.
No, mate. Striker for you, which is another one in the tick box for that. Darren, what about you, mate?
A right side for giving Mickey good competition, badly, and a centre half. So 2 for me will do. I wouldn't go by a striker, because if you can you have that problem. You go for a quality striker. Time he's settled in the country. He wants to play every game. He's not going to play every game. Do you know what I mean? So I'd rather go for a right-sided attacker, give Amron's competition, and a right-sided centre half.
Okay, that's another forward player. What about you, Spenny?
I'll go centre back, mate. I think the lads who's playing there have got the age they need replacing now. Shah's about 30, I think, now, and the Sells is a bit just getting around that age as well. For me, we need a centre back, and we still need a left back for me as well. To be honest, I don't think Lewis is the replacement for left back who was brought in. Taggart's not good enough, and Burns doing the job. I think Burn has improved this season. To be honest, well, I've seen. I know I slagged him off in the past, but I think he's doing a hell of a job left back. So mine would be centre back and left back. I wouldn't go for striker yet because the last 3-4 games, how many goals have we scored? Do we need more goals in the team? No, because we scored.
Okay, George.
I'd want a good centre forward. Somebody, as Alan rightly said, will put the willies up all the centre backs in the Premiership. Wilson does it because he's got the guile, he's got the know-how, but unfortunately he's losing the legs, and that's really important. And we can't afford to have a gap, a hiatus between the ones we've got and the one coming in. I can understand why people would be saying that they want a centre back. I think we've got time on that one. I think that could wait till the next window, as far as I'm concerned. But striker, definitely.
Ian, you're nodding away there. Are you agreeing with George?
Yeah, so at the start of the season, I think we asked this question, and it was 2 positions or something, if I remember rightly, and I said left back and right-sided centre back. But like Spenny said, Dan Burns played out his skin this season, or certainly the last several games. Anyway, he's back to what he does best. I think we can get away with it. I think we can get away with centre back as well. And I think for me, if we could get Osherman, I'd get him straight away. I think someone said in the chat that it cost 130 million, but I don't think he's going to cost that much because when he's taken Napoli to court or something because they took the mickey out of him for missing a penalty.
That's right. All of our social media, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that his value now because of them doing that. I would see that they probably would take less, and he's the sort of player I know people band it around a lot, but he looks like he is a generational player. He's one of those where you get him, and if you pay what you need to pay for him and get him in, he's going to bang in goals. Isak on the left, I thought the other day when he drops out onto the left was a different class, but obviously we can't at the moment do that with Wilson because Wilson's only got. Well, I say that, it's probably not right, but you can't play 90 minutes week in, week out, never mind game in, game out, you know what I mean? Like when you're playing every 3 days. So I would say there's still a place for Wilson coming off the bench and scoring goals, and there's a place for an Osherman and an Isak in the team, but that being Gordon on the right. So I don't know, but I'd say a forward is probably more needed at the moment.
Won't get Osherman because of his wages.
Okay.
Bruno though now.
We're not on give you 300 grand, man.
I think you're going to go to Real Madrid and Newcastle.
Oh well, yeah. But it's do those teams are those teams going to come into him? It's one of them where it's a dream, and he probably are right. He's probably going to want to go somewhere with more money, and would lose out on him. But if we're going to sign someone, it's got to be someone world class for me. There's no point in signing a bench warmer. You know what I mean? We've got a world class bench warmer already in goal scorer. So yeah, that's me.
Chippers.
I had 3 areas of the pitch that we need to target. I think we do need a centre half, and I had Tomori down for Milan as a possible to go for. I've had Jared Bourne down as a right winger to give me competition, but he's just signed a new contract at West Ham, hasn't he? So that's kaput. And then it would be a striker, and I thought of either Osimhen or possibly that Evan Ferguson is an up and coming one from Brighton. He looks a handful, and he's so young. He's 10 years at least in him, and so I definitely think he could be someone like as a striker to learn from. Possibly Wilson, but who knows? that's my sort of 3 areas of the pitch. I think we could have a left back, but I think I would see a left back keeper maybe next summer, maybe long-term option. That was for me in January, but it's going to cost money, isn't it? So
remember,
that's for me.
Played up front, didn't he? Chippers Minter played up front in the last game. He went through the middle, so there's someone there scoring goals who we already have. Obviously we're not going to pull him back, but he needs to develop the final. So
season-long loan for him. Garen Qual as well. Don't forget him. He's another one who's on our books who is trying to get a first-team football as well, which is another possibility. There is players who we've brought in, and
thing is, Steve, as well. So thing is, Steve, we're scoring goals without strikers at the moment.
Yeah, of course we are. We're sharing them around, and we want to, and we also want to. The club will want some of these development players, Fanny, to come through and develop. They won't want these youngsters that they're signing. They're not just buying them to tick a box and say we're signing youngsters. They're hoping that a few of these youngsters that they buy are going to come through and make the grade as well to save them some big money. So yeah, it's great, man. It's a great time to be alive. It's the message I've tried to send on this channel over the last few months. Stop complaining, just enjoy it. You know what I mean? We can all have opinions, but the next 2 transfer windows are going to be interesting. I genuinely don't think we'll spend a fortune in January. I think we'll spend, but I think the summer. I think we all agree the summer transfer window will be a big one for Newcastle. It will probably be the biggest we've seen so far, and a lot will depend as well on where we end up, in the league and where we end up in the various competitions we're in. Will we have won our first trophy? That will change the dynamic of the football club. Will we have qualified for the Champions League for the 2nd year in a row? That'll change the dimensions of the football club. So lots to look forward to. As always on a Monday, we have run out of time. So it's thanks to Chippers, to Ian, to George, to Spenny, to Barry, to Donald, to Alan, and to Darren. Thanks to you watching at home. Thanks to the moderators. Jules, nice to have you in the chat all night as well. A lot of new faces joining. Keep spreading the word. I ask everybody on the panel, if you're on Twitter or Facebook, please share the channel. Get it known. Our subs have gone up by 100 in the last week, which is great. It's nice to get more.
Fantastic.
We're hedging towards the actual attendance of the football ground now as subscribers, so that would be nice to get to there before we extend the ground.
And they don't have to win a ballot to get here either.
You don't have to win a ballot. Exactly, mate. You don't have to queue.
You don't have to get tickets from false pretenses as well.
Exactly. But I'm back tomorrow night with Melly, the resident Man United fan, on the Premier League show, having a look back at the latest stage of Premier League games and looking ahead to what we think might be going on in the next block of Premier League games. Wednesday night, Geordie's here. Geordie's there. We'll be with you at 6 o'clock. Thursday, Super Matt and Gibbo is at 10 o'clock in the morning. And Friday, the Amigos is at 5 o'clock. We'll have another episode of Those Were the Days at the weekend with George. And the latest episode of the Toon Teasers will be on Sunday. So plenty to look forward to on NUFC Matters. I'll be back tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Night, everybody. Night, everybody.
Night.